This portion of the CU podcast is sponsored by the Launchbox Games Database, an online database for managing your retro games collection. It's free and community moderated, so check it out at gamesdb.launchbox-app.com. At regular Nintendo, hey Alan.
Hello.
Besides Virtual Boy and TurboGrafx, what do you think is the easiest system to collect for? Price/rarity/number of games to collect. Whoa, Alan, you think TurboGrafx is easy to collect for?
I was going to say, Alan, you're nuts on the TurboGrafx.
It was 5 years ago when I finished my collection.
I mean, 90-something games is small, but cost is insane. I think the easiest one to collect for would probably be black and white Game Boy, Game Boy Color, if you want to include it. The original run Game Boy games, especially if you're not concerned about complete. You can't be concerned about complete because it just doesn't really exist. But
I mean, complete in box games.
Yeah, complete in box.
Yeah,
but most of those games are very, very cheap. The expensive ones, like Mega Man 5, still are just about 100. I mean, we're not talking a lot. Your holy grail is something like Shantae, which at this point probably is about 600 or something like that. If I just had to wager a guess, it's constantly jumped higher and higher. But there's not a lot of grails that you're going to have to dump a lot of money into to complete your set.
But you can still get most of the games at a reasonable price. Like most games are like $2 to $3.
$2, $3, $5, $10. I mean, you're not looking at a lot here. Certain things like Ninja Gaiden Shadow or Fish Dude or something like that can be more expensive. But yeah, we're not talking. I mean, the expensive games aren't more than the ones that most people consider expensive aren't more than like 40 to 50. The ones over 100 number in probably a handful.
What, Tail of the Gator or whatever, or the potato game.
I mean, I don't even know. I have most of the black and white Game Boy games I want, and none of them are the expensive ones.
Sure. Rampart. You got to watch out for that one. Remember that one?
Yes, I do. I
think it went back down, though, after that experiment.
Well, the James and Mike tax on Sky Kid is already falling, too.
Oh, is it the tax, the James and Mike tax?
It's a $25 game
hopefully
now.
They don't start doing Game Boy games. You might be upset with them.
Yeah.
Complete your collection now. How about, Atari 2600 is still easy and cheap.
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, you can get, 500 games in the system, something like that, and you can get 400 of them for like less than $5.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many are fun, but you can get a lot of them cheap, even the more popular ones like Pitfall.
Well, and a lot of people like my buddy Jeremy, one of our advertisers, Gary, he's a 2600 collector, and then a lot of these kids who are like 15, 16 who come in the store, they love collecting for Atari. Why? It's cheap, it's quick, fun. I mean, it costs less than a fucking Gatorade, for most of these games. Less than a candy bar. I mean, it's easy.
What is there any others? Those are like the ones that pop out at you that are easy to collect for. Yeah, you would even say, well, I guess Intellivision is even cheaper than Atari if you find the games. You can get complete box Intellivision games for like $1. No one cares about collecting it for Intellivision.
Right.
Odyssey 2, to a lesser extent, I think those are more desirable slightly because they're kind of goofier than Intellivision, and they're probably a little more fun, at least because it's a little bit notoriety. But that's pretty cheap to collect for. Yeah. Odyssey 2. But again, you got to go to like the early 80s era for stuff like that. Once you hit the 90s,
Game Gear would be easy.
Game Gear.
I mean, we are looking at mostly portables here. I mean, no doubt, but
Lynx is cheap.
Yeah, Lynx is.
There's
real
only
cheap.
2 or 3 really hard to find Lynx games. I think like Super Off Road's hard to find.
Yeah, I think you can still find like sealed Lynx games for next to nothing.
Yes, there's still new old stock. You can get probably 40 of the Lynx games. I think it's like more than half the library for like $5 each. Mm-hmm. Sealed. Other than that, I mean, hey, you want to collect old PC games, CD-ROM titles? Those are cheap. You can do that. Most of those are cheap. Actually, some of them are worth money now, but for the most part, So there you go. Start your Game Gear, Game Boy, Intellivision, Odyssey 2, Atari 2600 collection. And Master System, some games are still cheap. That's gone up. That's the Pat the Aeneas Punk effect on that. The Pat the Aeneas Punk tax on that.